Did you know that the smarter you are, the more likely you are to fail? And I'm not talking about failure in the traditional sense. I'm talking about the kind of failure that happens when you're doing everything right, but still getting nowhere. The uncomfortable truth is, intelligence is actually working against you in ways you've never considered. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about success is backwards? That the smarter you are, the harder you're making it on yourself. I know that sounds crazy, but stick with me, because once you understand this, you'll never look at your own mind the same way again. Most people think intelligence is your greatest asset. Smarter people solve problems faster. They see patterns others miss. They learn quicker. So, logically, they should succeed more, right? Wrong. Here's what nobody tells you. Intelligence creates a psychological trap, and the more intelligent you are, the more perfectly that trap closes around you. Let me explain. There's a concept in psychology called overthinking. But what I'm talking about is deeper. It's analysis paralysis. Smart people can see every possible outcome, every angle, every potential problem, every worst-case scenario. So when you're trying to do something important, your brain starts working against you. It generates reasons why it won't work. Think about this. You want to start a business. Immediately, your brain goes, what if I don't have enough capital? What if the market shifts? What if a bigger competitor enters? What if I'm not experienced enough? And because you're intelligent, you can explain these fears logically. You build entire frameworks around why something won't work. And that feels like truth. It feels like you're being smart and responsible. But here's the reality. You're not protecting yourself. You're paralyzing yourself. I've seen this destroy brilliant people. People with incredible potential who never actually try because they get stuck analyzing every possible failure. Now look at the opposite. People who don't overthink as much, they just start. They don't run endless scenarios. They don't imagine every possible failure. They move. And sometimes they succeed. Not despite this, but because of it. This is the real intelligence trap. Your brain is so good at finding problems that it starts believing finding problems is intelligence. But spotting problems and taking action despite them are completely different things. Now it gets deeper. Smart people are often perfectionists, not because they choose to be, but because they can clearly see how things could be better. An intelligent person looks at their work and instantly sees the flaws, what's missing, what could be improved. So they refine it, they tweak it, they adjust it. And in the process, they never actually ship anything, because in their mind, it's still not ready. This is called perfectionism. But in reality, it's intelligence working against you again. Your brain sees the gap between what is and what could be. And that gap feels so obvious to you that you assume everyone else will see it too. So you keep refining. You stay in preparation mode, and you never get real-world feedback. No results, no momentum, just thinking and adjusting. Now here's where it gets even more dangerous. Smart people are often their own worst critics. You can see your weaknesses clearly. You can explain exactly where you fall short. And because you can explain it, you start believing it. One mistake, and your brain builds a story. I'm not good at this. I'm not a business person. I'm not made for this. These feel logical. They feel real, but they're not facts. They're just stories your mind created. And because you're intelligent enough to argue them, you end up convincing yourself. And once you believe that, you stop trying. This is what makes it so dangerous. No one told you that you can't do it. You decided that. Now, compare that to someone who doesn't overanalyze. They fail, but they don't build a deep story around it. They try again and again, and slowly they improve. While the intelligent person? Still thinking, still doubting, still stuck. This is the paradox. The same intelligence that helps you understand everything can also stop you from doing anything. This is the intelligence paradox. The same mind that helps you understand complex ideas is the same mind holding you back. Because intelligence without action is just overthinking. It feels productive. It feels like progress. But in reality, you're standing still. You can think about something for years and still never move forward. So what's the solution? Not to be less smart. To use your intelligence differently. The people who actually succeed, they still think, they still plan, but they don't stay there. They act. They set deadlines, real deadlines, and they ship what they have even if it's not perfect. Because they understand one thing. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction. They separate two phases, thinking and doing. When it's time to think, they go deep. But when it's time to act, they stop thinking. That's the difference. That's what separates people who move forward from people who stay stuck. And here's what changes everything. When you take action, you get real feedback. Not imagined fears, but actual results. And most of the things you worried about, they never even happen. Your brain starts to realize, I was wrong. And slowly, you stop trusting fear and start trusting action. So if you're someone who thinks deeply, who analyzes everything, this is your wake-up call. You're not failing because you're not smart enough. You're stuck because you're trapped in your own thinking. The solution is simple. Do something before you're ready. Start before it's perfect. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable. That feeling? That's the trap. So take one thing you've been thinking about for too long and act on it. One step, that's it. Because your brain is great at imagining problems, but terrible at predicting reality. Here's the final truth. Intelligence is powerful, but without action, it's wasted potential. Thinking alone won't create results. Planning alone won't bring success. Your mind can imagine every obstacle, but only action will break through them. So here's your challenge. Pick one idea, one step you've been hesitating on. Do it this week. Not perfect, not fully ready, just do it. Every action teaches more than endless thinking ever could. Every step forward weakens fear. Every failure becomes a lesson, not a story that traps you. Remember, smartness is not your superpower. Action is. Start today. Move despite doubt. Ship despite imperfection. Learn faster than your mind can fear. Stop overthinking. Start doing. Your intelligence will follow your action, not the other way around. Here's the final reinforcement. Your brain is brilliant, but it's not the boss. Action is the boss. Doing is the boss. Every time you hesitate, every time you wait for perfect, you're letting your mind trap you. Your intelligence is meant to serve your action, not replace it. Think about this. The smartest people who succeed, they fail fast, they learn fast, they act fast. Not because they never doubted, but because they refused to let doubt stop them. So today, right now, commit. One step,
One action, one move. Don't overthink it. Don't plan forever. Just start. Because action breaks fear. Action teaches lessons. Action builds momentum. And momentum is the real power that intelligence alone can't. Stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Start acting. Let your smart mind follow your courage. That's how winners are made.